Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I'm McKinley412. Hope you're all having a wonderful week. If you're looking for the early slate, Mega Ruler does have that one covered. You got a couple hours before lock on that. But this is going to be the night slate on Wednesday, May 22nd, 10 games. And it's a pretty interesting one in terms of the amount of pitching options that we do have. So we'll just kind of dive right into this. Glasnow is right up at the top in terms of the high salary, and this is kind of where I'm ranking them. Glasnow, he's the most expensive, 10.6K, but it's entirely justifiable. He's got a nice matchup against Arizona, who really struggle against right-handed pitching so far this season. And the strikeout rate of Glasnow and the floor that he is going to provide, I don't really have any concerns with him here. He did allow 4 earned runs last game out, but still, anytime you're going to get me a floor of 8 to 10 strikeouts, I'm going to have interest in you, regardless of the earned runs that you are having. Peralta is below him in terms of salary, but I do have him ranked below Jones and Cortez. And I'm not saying he's a fade by any means. I'm going to have interest in Peralta for sure. I just think that you can have interest in all 4 of these guys. They're all in very nice matchups. He's facing off against Miami. Miami is not a good offense by any means, but Peralta has certainly had his struggles over the past month or so. You can see he's just had this string of games where he's allowing 3 to 5 earned runs every single time. The strikeout rates, he's not hitting that ceiling that we have seen from him in years past, and it's resulted in obviously lower fantasy scores. And at 10.2K, you're really hoping that he's going to get you at least 26 to 27 DK points, and that is just not happening, and he's not even coming close to it recently. So while the matchup is phenomenal, this is the absolute best get right spot outside of if he was playing Chicago or somebody, but this is certainly a get right spot for him. He's certainly in play, but I do have some hesitancy with how much he has quote unquote struggled over the past month. Jared Jones, this guy is just a swinging strike machine. It's just kind of awesome what he has been able to do so far this season. And all of a sudden, Pittsburgh seems to have a really solid rotation with Skeens and Jones and excuse me. Even Mitch Keller, Keller's now their third starting pitcher in the rotation, which is pretty crazy compared to where we thought they were going to be at the start of the year. But Jared Jones, he induces a lot of swinging strikes. Obviously, that bumps up his strikeout rate and just the confidence that you can have that strikeout rate is going to continue. So do really like him there. He does have a little bit of a home run issue, but at the same time, San Francisco, this lineup, they have so many injuries, especially to their top bats. They're not going to be scaring me one bit, and you're going to be getting him at a discount compared to Peralta, and much bigger discount compared to Glasnow. So he's certainly in there. And then Cortez facing off against Seattle. Seattle strikes out more against right-handed pitching, but still, they still strike out enough. There's a lot of strikeouts in that lineup where I'm going to have interest in Cortez. I might honestly put Peralta over Cortez, but because he is $1,000 cheaper in salary, and we do play DFS, salary does come into play. I am putting a slight bump to Cortez, but it doesn't mean fade Peralta. I think that all these guys are in fine spots. Over in the mid-tier salary, Snell. I put so many dots here because I regret, I feel I'm going to regret it, but looking at the rest of the mid-tier, he kind of rises to the top. He's coming off the IL. Typically with pitchers coming off the IL, you got to be paying attention to their pitch count and everything. But he did go 5 innings in his last rehab start. He made 2 rehab starts, didn't allow a single earned run in any of them. Disastrous start to the season. And I don't want to say it was expected. Snell has had up and downs. He's either going to be absolutely dominant or he's going to struggle. He's just one of those pitchers. And if you remember, he was having those big contract negotiation issues. He didn't really have a spring training, so he didn't really get a warm up at all. It's justifiable. Got injured, coming back from rehab. I feel now, we might be seeing the Snell come back. Is he going to be going, 90 to 100 pitches to start? I don't expect it. He went 5 innings in minor league. Maybe he goes 5 to 6 here. Maybe he's going to get you 80, 85 pitches. But still, at 8.3K in this matchup, and compared to everybody else in this mid tier, I feel like I'm putting Snell up towards the top. Right behind him, I do have King. which king is going to show up? You don't know. He's been absolutely lights out in some starts. He's looked really, really shaky in some starts as well. He's facing off against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, like Seattle, has a lot of strikeouts, especially against right-handed pitching in their lineup. So maybe King is going to be able to get some strikeouts here in this matchup. King and Miller and Fried, like they all have, I think, the same over-under in terms of strikeouts in this matchup. So or in their matchups. So you can't really distinguish too much from that. But I still think with the upside that he can bring, I'm going to put King here. Miller, he also brings a high upside. He's been a little bit more up and down as of late compared to like a really strong start to the season that he did have. Facing off against the Yankees, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. You know, the Yankees do have some pop in their bats for sure. But he's certainly got the capabilities of mowing them down. Max Fried, I have him ranked even below them. I'm just really worried about the walk rate that Fried has kind of had, especially as of late. He's walking way too many guys, and his strikeout rate has also gone down in the same amount of time. Now he's had some tougher matchups against lower strikeout teams like San Diego and the Mets and the Dodgers, but sorry, I'm still like battling this cold. Cannot get rid of this cough that I've had for a while. I don't know. I worry about the walk rate and the reduced strikeout rate that he has been having, but still, I don't think he's going to get absolutely shelled. He's an extreme ground ball pitcher. Fried is, so like he certainly limits damage. He's facing off against the Cubs. You can see I have them at GPP here. I wanted them higher just because, you know, sometimes the control with Fried can get a little off. But at the exact same time, Fried is an extreme ground ball pitcher. So it's tough to really, you know, rake in the home runs and go and take down a tournament facing off against an extreme ground ball pitcher. But, I mean, we saw with Javier the other day against the Angels, extreme ground ball pitcher, didn't do too well. He kind of got taken care of, or Valdez. I'm getting him mixed up right now in my mind. Whichever one, just face off against them. Going into the cheap tier, a lot of guys I do like in this cheap tier as well. You can see it's another like pitcher friendly heavy slate across all salary tiers. Pepio is going to be leading it off here for Tampa Bay. He's just too cheap. He's coming off the IL, and I feel like that's kind of why his salary has kind of been reduced here. But as you can see, we were paying, you know, over $9K for this guy. Boston, they do have some strikeouts in their lineup. Just watch out for Devers. I mean, he's got a home run in 6 straight games. Well, no, did he get a home run last night? I'm not sure. I didn't pay attention. I was quickly falling asleep, trying to, again, fight off this cold. But Pepio, I think is going to be the number one guy here. He's just way too cheap. I don't think there's going to be a pitch limit for him at all. Bruised left leg, yeah. As you can see here, any workload limitations for Pepio is going to be minor. He wasn't out for long, and it wasn't anything with his arm at all. So I think he's going to be right back in, capable of getting you 20 plus DK points here. After Pepio, who did I put? Did I put Spence? No, I put Bassett. Oh, Bassett, because he's facing off against the White Sox, and the White Sox are just absolutely awful. But Spence I did want to talk about here. 4K, min price pitcher. Anytime we can get a min price pitcher who I think I saw his over-under for strikeouts at 4.5. Not bad. So min-price pitcher, possibility for 5 strikeouts. He's going to go 80-plus pitches in a nice matchup against Colorado in a pitcher's park. Like, I'm not saying he's a lock by any means. He's not. But he's just way, way too cheap for the opportunity that we are going to be getting with him. So he could be a nice salary saver if you do want to load up on some of the top bats from the Dodgers and from San Diego, with like those more expensive guys. So I don't mind him in that regard. And Luzardo, kind of felt weird putting him all the way down here. Just because of the upside that he can bring. And, you know, I mentioned it in the last video that he was on. When he was 7.4K, I was like, you need to play this guy because he's just far too cheap. He's not really any more expensive at this point in time, but compared to the other guys and their salaries and the matchups that they are in, compared to the matchup that Luzardo gets against Milwaukee, I just have a little bit more reluctancy with him. Is he a bad play? No. Like you can see, he's coming back to form. His strikeout rate is back up. He's looked really nice, after coming back from injury there in his 2 starts. So even though I have him ranked 4th here, he's certainly in play. Steele, he's almost more in the no interest category for me. Everybody else, no interest, fade. Yeah. Going into the bats here, Dodgers are going to be the top team for me, pairing them with San Diego. Dodgers are going to be facing off kind of like a bullpen game for Arizona, but Mantiply is going to start opening it up, and then Nelson's going to be pitching long relief. Nelson, he's a fly ball pitcher for Arizona. There's a lot of hard contact. Anybody that you want from the Dodgers certainly going to be in play. Don't worry about lefty, righty, or whatever. Hayward, he's always still a cheap option for you. Lux, like Dodgers, they are super good on offense, but that bottom of the order still remains extremely cheap and extremely affordable, where it is possible, if you want to do like wraparound stacks with the Dodgers, that you can jam them in. San Diego, they're going to be our top team that I'm going to have interest in here, facing off against Martinez in Cincinnati. Great hitting environment. It's a small ballpark. A lot of home run upside with all these guys. I'm going to definitely be focusing on the left-handed hitters here. Jackson Merrill, 3.7K. He's cheap, very affordable. He's probably going to be batting in that like 6 or 7 spot in the lineup. Profar at 4.1K. I really like the value that he can bring. He's hitting the ball very well here. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's able to get that home run. He's hitting the ball, again, very well over the past 10 days or so. Cronenworth certainly in play. Tatis, he's a righty, but doesn't matter. He's always going to be in play. See, anybody else I would have interest in from Arias, again, I feel like I've said this in previous videos, like 4.2K, and his salary has come down. He was more like high 4K when I brought up this last, but it's tough for me to spend this much salary on a guy who doesn't really give you any home run upside at all, doesn't really give you much stolen base upside at all. He does have 3 stolen bases on the season, which is more than he has, he's certainly taking off more, but still, with no home run upside, no stolen base upside, you're looking just for like singles and hoping that he scores a run. 4.2K, it's tough, but I guess if you are full stacking San Diego, he certainly could be in the mix, just because he's more than likely going to get on base here a couple of times tonight, and then with the guys behind him driving in the runs. Cronenworth obviously is a lefty. He's going to be my home run call. We're going to go with Cronenworth here tonight at 4.3K. Over in a GPP, we'll just swing to the other side of that matchup, and we're going to go with Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati, you can see I have Hurtubise, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but one nice thing about him is that he was leadoff for Cincinnati. They had the guy go down, I think it was Friedel, go down to the IL. Once he did, this guy and Benson have kind of been taking that top leadoff spot. So I don't know if it's going to be Hurtubise or if it's going to be Benson here at the top of the lineup. But this guy was leadoff on Tuesday. Maybe he gets it again today. Not great numbers over the course of the season. Ooh, there we go. That felt good. Over the course of the season, but still. Hitters Park, implied run total, I think, for Cincinnati is close to like 4.5. Fantastic. Nice pitching matchup. Min, Price, leadoff. Like, you're going to have some interest in here, just even as a salary saving, if you do want to go in that direction. LA De La Cruz has some like crazy splits. I mean, it's not too surprising. Like, all the Cincinnati hitters have it, but he's just a little bit more extreme, but much better hitter at home than he is compared to on the road. Cubs, I already talked about how, they're facing off against an extreme ground ball pitcher, so I did bump them down the rankings a little bit. But Milwaukee, facing off against Luzardo, I think could be a really intriguing team. They just continue to do very well offensively. Luzardo, he's looked better since his return from injury, but we know historically the ups and downs that he can have. He's kind of like those guys like Aaron Nola and even like Pablo Lopez, which we've kind of been seeing this season. Like, when they're on, they are on and dominant. But when they're off, man, they can really struggle, and the earned runs start piling up on them there. Cheap guys, Oakland, Seattle, leverage is going to be, bats who are going to be facing off against pitchers who I think are going to be quite chalky. So you got, Boston against Pepio, Arizona against Glasnow. Are these guys great plays? No. I mean, like, Glasnow is absolutely dominating. But still, Arizona is a pretty decent offense. They just really, really struggle against right-handed pitching, and that's kind of like the main issue for them. So thanks for watching. As always, I mean, that's kind of where everything shakes down. I don't think salary is going to be too much of an issue at all. You could have a mid-price leadoff for Cincinnati. You could have mid-price pitcher Spence, or you are going to have mid-price pitcher Spence in a nice matchup in a pitcher's park who has over under of 4.5 strikeouts. He's going to go 80-some pitches. Nice spot there for some nice value as well. So salary is not going to be an issue. Jam all the bets that you want to get in there. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Good luck in all of your contests, and we'll see you in the next one.